And welcome back to another episode of Dogs on the Couch, where everybody's allowed to have an opinion that does not matter if you play the game you are watching. So you're allowed to have an opinion as well. First and foremost, please subscribe, leave a comment, whether you agree or disagree. It doesn't cost you a thing. By all means, please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, also leave a comment. It helps push this channel into the algorithm, helps grow the channel, and forward these videos to like-minded individuals who may also enjoy the content. And thanks to everyone who has subscribed and given me comments and likes, man. I greatly appreciate that, man. I really do. It's one of the main reasons why I keep doing it. That and the fact that I love talking sports. Now with that out the way, Kenny Atkinson strikes again. Kenny strikes again. Okay. Um, Game 2, Eastern Conference Finals. Yet another L. They gave a valiant effort, in the first half to try to, put up a fight and make it seem like, game one wasn't necessarily going to, have an effect on them long term. But unfortunately, I truly believe that it did, along with a plethora of other issues, that they suffered from tonight. The majority of the issues, in my honest opinion, are the same issues that they've continued to have, and they're just, in my opinion, not being addressed. So let's get into it. For starters, off the rip, Kenny he was running like a zone on defense. He was running like some form, looked like 2-3 at times, but just some form of a zone he was running to start the game off, if you will. Now, I mean, we could get extremely technical, about it and use certain analytics, to say how it worked for what it was supposed to work for, whatever, what have you. Okay, fine, it worked for what it was worked for. But to the eye test for me, it looked like something that wasn't rehearsed all too well. So for me, just from the eye test, it didn't look like something that was beneficial the way that you would think that it would be if that's what you implement. If after you went back to the drawing board, that's what you came back out with. Not a different starting lineup or a different, personnel usage, which we'll get to that because he did kind of do that, but not really. None of that. It was, yeah, we finna run this zone that, and when we run it, don't really look like we don't practice it too much. Doesn't really look like this was like a tool that's in our bag, if you will. It looked like something that you just throwing stuff at the wall, trying to see if maybe this will throw them off their game or throw Brunson off of his game or whatever, what have you. And then yet again, for me, you run in the zone again. Dean Wade is a great point of attack defender. You know what I'm saying? So again, you run in a zone with Dean Wade out there, who's a great point of attack defender. Well, that kind of negates and nullifies a little bit of what he's so great at as far as defense is concerned. Not to mention, that also makes me believe that you, Kenny, were in the mindset of, oh, they're going to continue with the Brunson thing that they tore you up with the last game. So I guess you like, all right, well, let me hurry up, throw the zone out there and get them. I don't know. It just, for a guy who, bashes his head up against the wall and it's the definition of insanity that being the major adjustment, to me, just really didn't move the needle. Not from what I was watching. Like, that didn't really move the needle. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ask me, you look more dominant minus the first quarter, in the feeling out process or whatever, because, it was game one. But you look more dominant in the previous game, not running any zone, then it looked like your zone that you came out to start with was just so overwhelming, and it was just, yeah, this is the answer on defense. It didn't give that to me. It wasn't looking like that to me. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. Personnel. Again, you start Dean Wade. I want to make sure I say this, because you have to say this all the time, because the Dean Wade supporters, it's defense, all about Dean Wade, defense. I love Dean Wade. I love his defense. Absolutely love it. You need more people like that in the NBA, where it's like, defense. That's my calling. I'm going to take that seriously. This is my job, and I'm finna do it to the T. I respect it 100%. Like, I'm of the ilk of, truth be told, defense first. Like, I don't like all that carrying and traveling and talking about a gather step and all this. You traveling. So defense, I'm with that. Defense first, I rock with it. The only thing that I'm saying is, for this particular scenario, in this particular situation, at this particular time, and the way that the Knicks are playing at this particular junction, I feel like Dean Wade's defense, especially on Jalen Brunson, can be much more served better coming off of the bench. I don't think there's just this, this massive change that's finna happen. Oh, we're gonna get blew out because Dean Wade didn't start tonight. And his massive defensive impact just led to us getting blew out by 30 points to start the game. I don't think that's going to happen. And respectfully, only thing I'm asking is, even if it does happen, give me a chance to see it. And then, okay, I won't say nothing else about it. Because at that point, Dean Wade and his defense is just, you can't miss it. But I just saw you in Game 7 against the Pistons when you had no other choice. You started Max Strus. It worked out extremely well. And then the first chance that you had to go back to Dean Wade being in the starting lineup, that's exactly what you did. And I don't get it. I'm with you as far as the defense, but I feel like that's something that could be deployed off of the bench. And, and like I say, a 15 to maximum 20-minute, sample size. I would prefer it be closer to 15. But if he cooking, if Wade out there locking stuff down, give him the full 20 minutes, because he out there locking it down. So 20 minutes. If he out there locking Brunson up, cool. Let's go with that then. 20 minutes worth of Wade. But respectfully, I feel like, even Kenny, you don't like Jalen Tyson, it's clear. Go with Max Strus. Start Max Strus then, and just see how the team responds to that. I prefer it be Tyson, but just see how the team responds to starting Max Strus against the New York Knicks, and then just see how it rolls. Because again, one of the things that I feel like Strus provides is, when his shot isn't falling, he's full of hustle. He's full of heart. He's full of grit, determination. So he's diving for loose balls, trying to block shots, taking charges. All of those kinds of things is what he's doing when his shot isn't necessarily falling. Okay, and for the couple games that he's had great throughout this playoffs, he's also had a number of clunkers throughout this playoffs. The thing that's covered up for his clunkers as far as shooting is concerned is the fact that he's been able to put together a much better all-around just floor game. Like I say, taking charges, hands in the passing lanes, getting steals, creating extra possessions, different things of that nature. That's what he's been able to bring to the table. So, okay, if you're not going to start Tyson, start Strus there. Let's just see what it looks like, man. You can easily go back to Dean Wade the next game because we know you probably will. That's what you do. But at least just for one game, just see and kind of scale Wade minutes back, scale, Tyson minutes up, or Keon Ellis, or maybe even a Thomas Bryant, if you will, and run a double big set with Mobley and Bryant, which is extreme. It's been extremely successful throughout the season, both in eye test form as well as analytical metric fashion. The Mobley and Bryant pairing has been great this year. We're yet to try that at any point. I'm not understanding. So real quick, let's take just a look at a few of the numbers for what I'm talking about. Dean Wade, 21 minutes tonight, okay? 3 points, 1 of 3 from the field, 1 of 3 from three-point. You got 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, and was a -10. A lot of people could do that besides Dean Wade. A lot of people. And then when we looking at it, you started out in zone, so it wasn't like you just needed Dean Wade's defense one-on-one with Jalen Brunson. You started out in zone. So, again, that's yet another reason that you probably could have scaled Dean Wade minutes back a little bit. If you're going to start out in the zone, well, then you really don't need to start Wade. That's even more reason to start Max Strus. You start in the zone anyway, so you're not doing one-on-one matchup. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. And again, for you to be -10, we need you to be in the plus more often than not, because we know that it really ain't too much that you providing on the offensive side of the basketball. So you got to be able to make sure that you are effective and efficient in all of these other areas, because on offense, it's almost like we could just pencil you in for a dud. Even when you do make that 1 3-pointer like that, the other team is like, okay, whatever. Who cares? We'll give you that one. Let's see you make it again. You know what I'm saying? And even if once you make that one, let's see you make it again. I don't believe you hot. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying, Dean Wade? I don't believe you hot on offense. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Even when you get the ball, who really cares? Let him dribble. What are he really going to do? I watched Buddy in the last series, man, in the third quarter, up 17, scared to shoot a layup, wide open. You don't think these other teams noticed that they done scouted and saw that? And like, hey, look, we're going to let him go ahead. Kind of like at one point in the game, you could tell that the Cavs had kind of identified as Josh Hart being the guy that we'll let him shoot the 3. He the guy that we'll let him shoot. Like, it's to think that the Cavs are the other teams are able to identify these things as well. Their coaches don't get paid for nothing. Okay. Sam Merrill. And, again, Sam Merrill was one of my key players in Game 7 of last series, flame throwing. But again, what I say about Sam Merrill, when I make blanket statements and sometimes people, it ruffles feathers a little bit, when he not knocking down that 3, what else he really doing? Oh, he closing out on people real good. He's playing great team defense. And then not only that, don't get me wrong, watch this, because I want to just make sure I'm very clear about this. 1 to 2 times, 2 maximum, every game, Sam Merrill will somehow be left with a wide open driving lane to the basket. And to his credit, he will take that wide open driving lane and score the layup. He will. Like, if it's a wide open lane, he'll take that lane, two dribbles, maybe 3, and then bam, and he'll lay it in. It's only going to happen once or twice per game, though. So, like, the point for me saying that is, can he do it? Yes. But the point is, that's not the main part of his game. You're not seeing that 4-5 times from him a game, the same way we seeing, Brunson isolated 8 times in one quarter. Well, more than 8 times in one quarter. It was 8 straight times, late fourth quarter. That when something like that is happening that often, that means that's a part of your game. So when we watching the game, the majority of the game, we don't see Sam Merrill driving to the basket. The majority of the game, we see him shooting 3s. So that's what I mean when I say, like, if you're not knocking down the 3, what else is this other stuff that you're doing? We can get other people to do that. But you know what we can't get other people to do? We can't get other people to be this flamethrower from 3-point range like you can be. We can't just get everybody else to do that. But this closing out real good and playing great team defense, I could get Keon Ellis to do that. But to be a flamethrower from three, I don't know if I get Keon Ellis to do that, but I know you can, Sam Merrill. So again, on a night like this, where Sam Merrill's numbers is, you out there for 23 minutes of basketball, you got 4 points on 1 of 8 from the field, 0 of 7 from 3-point. You was 2 of 4 from the free throw line. You had 1 turnover, and you was a -8. Respectfully, and I rock with Sam Merrill. I do. He's one of the elite knockdown 3-point shooters in the NBA. There ain't many Sam Merrills in the NBA when it comes to 3-point shooting. They not just falling out the sky. That's a rare thing that Sam Merrill is. It's a rare guy. However, on this particular night, and this is what I was talking about in the last video, Kenny, you have to be able to identify that tonight Sam Merrill just doesn't have it. Tonight, he just don't got it. So instead of him still logging 23 minutes, scale back 10 of them minutes. Have him at 13 because tonight he ain't got it. He don't. So 10 of his minutes could go to somebody else. Give Keon Ellis them 10 minutes and see what he can do with them. And if he out there balling, then give him 5 more minutes to go with it. 15, you know what I mean? Do that. Another one, Max Strus. As much as I pound the table for Max Strus to start, if you're not going to start Jalen Tyson there, and I pound the table to start Max Strus because when the shot ain't falling, he does these other things. Just as much as Max Strus done had a couple good games, he's had some clunkers. This is what I mean. Like, this ain't the first time he done had a clunker like this. 25 minutes of basketball, 5 points. 1 for 7 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3-point range, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. You had a steal, but you also had 3 turnovers, and you was a -17. A -17. And you fouled out. I ain't mad at the fouling out because that mean you was out there getting to it. You was pushing, shoving, grabbing, pushing, pulling. I ain't mad at that. But a -17? And this is my thing. If Strus was, instead of being 1 for 7 from the field and 1 for 4 from 3, if he was 4 for 7 from the field and 2 of 4 for 3-point range, I would feel a little bit better about that -17. But the fact that you wasn't knocking down your shots or your threes and you was a -17, that's hard to stomach, man. Even for somebody who supports you starting over, I feel like you should start over Dean Wade since he ain't going to start Jalen Tyson. But my goodness, man, if you're not knocking down the shots and you a -17, well, we might as well have Dean Wade out there, because if you ain't making the shots, you're doing the same thing Dean Wade doing. And this is what I mean. He got 25 minutes worth of basketball. How can you not, Kenny, be able to identify, hey, look, man, he don't have it tonight. And as much as he hustles and is pesky on defense and dive for loose balls, I believe Keon Ellis will do that too. Jalen Tyson will do that too. He'll hustle for them loose balls. He's going to be pesky. He's going to fight on defense. He's going to fight over screens. He's going to have that in your face attitude. My thing is, before just dubbing and deeming that Keon Ellis can't help you tonight, put him out there and let him play some basketball first, and let's see if he can help you tonight. Same thing with Jalen Tyson, even dare I say it, Thomas Bryant. Again, with the double big lineup with him and Evan Mobley in there together, instead of going small ball and having Sam Merrill and Max Strus out there who can't shoot the ball into the ocean. Not in this particular instance, not in this game. Couldn't shoot the ball into the me and Sam Merrill made the same number of threes in tonight's game. We both made the same amount of threes in tonight's game. And he a professional, one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, period. Both just talent-wise as well as number-wise. Sam Merrill's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, period. I struggle to think of many that's better than him. And me and him both had the same amount of 3-point makes in tonight's Eastern Conference Finals Game 2. So for me, respectfully, them minutes that them guys was getting, you can at the bare minimum experiment and give these other guys a chance just to see if one of them might be on tonight. Maybe tonight may be their night. Game 1, Alex Caruso, even though I know the Oklahoma City Thunder lost that game, they wouldn't have even had a chance to win it if Alex Caruso wasn't out there going for 30 points. But the coach had to be willing to give Alex Caruso, he had to be like, you know what, well, maybe A.J. Mitchell ain't got it tonight. Let me give Caruso, let me stick with him a little bit more. Give him a longer leash. Put some fire up under his behind, pause, and see what Caruso, because he seemed to be cooking. Let's see if he can keep this up. And you get one of those kinds of nights from those kinds of individuals, man. But if you're not giving them the minutes, well, then how on earth are they supposed to be able to pull that off, man? How? When, respectfully, man, you got Josh Hart dicing you up for 26 points tonight. 26.7 assists, 4 bounds, plus 18 on the court. OG Anunoby, plus 22. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, not even trying to be funny, but again, it wasn't like Jalen Brunson had he had a decent night tonight. Wasn't one of his best cooking nights. It was just a decent night. Only 19 points on 7 of 16 from the field. Only 1 of 7 from 3. But he had 14 assists, man. It was a plus 18. So again, this is another one of those scenarios where I'm like, Brunson ended up with 14 dishes, man. So clearly, it wasn't just this overly aggressive Brunson tonight. Josh Hart had more field goal attempts than he did. So again, if that's the way the game is going, all right, well, let me scale back some Dean Wade minutes and get somebody else in there, because I'm not so worried about, well, I just need Dean Wade out there because he's the best defender on Jalen Brunson for one-on-one. And then, like I said, Kenny, you started the game out in the zone. The strategic, I don't get this. It's like his strategy is just throwing crap at the wall. That's what his strategy is. Matter of fact, really quickly, let's just play revisionist history, because I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't even got much more to say about this, because I'm just pounding the table at this point and beating a dead horse. Kenny needs to be gone. And what's so crazy is after every loss, when you get up there in the post-game press conference, buddy got this weird smile on his face. That's what Kenny looked like post-game at press conference after you done got your butt kicked. You wasn't calling timeouts. You lost a lead. What's so crazy is I got the stat wrote down. I think it said teams having 20-plus point lead in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. The record is 594-2. And you one of the two teams that blew that 20-point lead. Only 2 teams did it, and you was one of them. And then, Kenny, you would get up there in the post-game press conference smiling like this. What are you smiling about? Let's even just listen, just so we can go over the history of revisionist history, because I didn't do this on the last one. Let's listen to what Kenny had to say about why on earth he wasn't using his timeouts. I know y'all have heard it, but let's listen to him say it again. We need revisionist history to understand how this man is costing us a trip to the NBA Finals. And why I've been saying he need to be fired, and how I predicted that all of this crap that he's doing is precisely what he would be doing, and that's why he would need to be fired. This is why he said he wasn't calling no timeouts when the other team was on a 22-3 run. This is why he said he ain't calling no timeout.
Yeah, I like to hold my timeouts. I mean, I didn't want to have one timeout at the end of the game, 1 or 2 point game. I try to hold them,
First of all, we know, Kenny, we know you don't like to have one timeout. You wanted to have 4 of them because that's how many you had and you wouldn't burn now. So you like to have 4 of them when it's a 1 or 2 point game at the end of the game. But what's so crazy is, Kenny, if you had to burn one of them timeouts, then guess what? It wouldn't have been a 1 or 2 point game at the end of the game, genius. The reason it was a 1 or 2 point game right there at the end was because you wouldn't burn one of the 4 timeouts that you had because you like to take them with you to the next game. You think that if you save them timeouts and put them in your backpack, that they're going to let you use them in game 2. In game 3, in game 4, you probably feel like you take the timeouts home with you and then they'll let you use them in the NBA Finals if you get there. Talking about some, oh yeah, well, I like to take them. How many do you like to take with you, Kenny? You like to just take all the timeouts with you. You can't take them home with you, Kenny. That's what we trying to get you to understand. You can't take timeouts home with you. And what better time to use them than when the other team is going on a historic run and you about to end up having a historic collapse? I don't get, I don't get it. I'm not understanding. Even when he tried to make an adjustment at the end, he sent the double at the wrong time. You waited until we was up by 6. Then you start wanting to send a double at Brunson. And Brunson was like, okay, well, I'm going to kick it to Shamet over there. 3 ball. Oh, I'm going to kick it over here to Deuce McBride or whoever the other guy was. Hit the 3. Up, tie game now. What was he? I don't understand what on earth he was doing. And then, he makes some of the most wildest, craziest comments that you've ever heard, man. Like, even with him, how he was, reflecting on the entire situation, he was trying to say that he was more worried about our offense, that he didn't like our offense, as opposed to the defense that we was playing, because he said, the defense, they shot selection, or shot quality. Let me be correct, because the analytic nerds will kill me. Shot quality, I can't make blanket statement. I have to make sure I'm precise. Shot quality was in the first percentile. Okay? And here's where matter of fact, here, real quick, just listen to Kenny.
I want to just lean on the positive. We had 3 quarters of really good basketball. Some of the best basketball we've honestly played.
So first of all, I'm sorry to cut him off, but he's worried about the 3 quarters of the best basketball. First of all, it wasn't 3 quarters because he didn't watch the first quarter. And again, we talking about game 1. This is revisionist history. He talking about 3 great best quarters of basketball. If you remember that first quarter, we was losing. So how's that? No, it was 2. It was the second quarter and it was the third quarter, Kenny. That's what it was. So it wasn't the best 3 quarters of basketball. And then not only that, who cares how great them 3 quarters of basketball is if it results. The end result is you losing. Who cares about how great them 3 quarters of basketball was? You lost. While you played the best 3 quarters of basketball in the world that you talking about.
In the playoffs, especially offensively and defensively, really good. And in the fourth quarter, we know. I'd say looking back on it, the fourth quarter, what I'm probably more disappointed about it was our offense. Shot quality wasn't great. We weren't getting to the rim. I think we took 9 threes. Thought we could have gotten to the rim more and put more pressure on them at the rim. Fourth quarter, they were in the first percentile shot quality. See, we have data you guys don't have. First percentile. So
that's legit the face he made when he said that. We have data you guys don't have, and then he did. Like he dropped the bar right there. I dropped the bar. Well, with that data, guess what happened? Guess what you did with that data, Kenny? You lost with it. So what good did it do for you to have that data that nobody else got? And you lost with it. Meanwhile, the data that everybody else has, which is stop letting Dean Wade concede the switch and then letting Harden go one-on-one because you feel like he's your best one-on-one or he's a great one-on-one defender. That data that we all got, we would have won the game with that data. The data that you saying that you got that everybody else don't got, you lost with that. You lost with it, big dog. And then you hear him talking about something. Well, I thought we could have been driving the ball to the basket more. Well, you didn't have the people in the game who would be driving the ball to the basket more. Donovan Mitchell ain't really necessarily trying to drive the ball to the basket. Again, Kenny, you saying it was because fatigue. Again, it's two things. It's a thing that will solve two problems that you're talking about: fatigue and driving the ball to the basket. You know what will help that? If you would play the players on your bench, Keon Ellis, Jalen Tyson, Thomas Bryant, that's going to help with the fatigue, and then also driving the ball to the basket. You know, two players that I know off, actually three players I know off the bench that'll drive the ball to the basket: Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, and Jalen Tyson. None of them people was in the game. None of them. You had Max Strus and Sam Merrill in there with the rest of them. You didn't have none of the people in there that would be driving the ball to the basket. Donovan wasn't doing it because Donovan, I think, Donovan might be hurt. Something might be wrong with Donovan. I think he might be hurt. Because he ain't driving the ball as aggressively as we normally know Donovan to do. So he might be hurt. James Harden ain't driving the ball all the way to the basket. If he do, he finna shoot a floater. That's it. Okay, and when they got Mitchell Robinson down there, Mitchell Robinson throwing that floater crap into the third row. So the people who finna drive down there and put some pressure on the defense when they're driving, Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, Jalen Tyson. None of them in the game. So, Kenny, how do you want this stuff? And the players that could give it to you, you won't put them in the game. Same thing on defense. What you're looking for, the players that will give it to you, well, you won't put them in the game. You won't put them in there. And then when you do, like tonight in closing, because I don't want to gloss over this, all right, because I've been pounding the table for it. He played Jalen Tyson. He did. He played Jalen Tyson tonight. And he played Jalen Tyson 10 minutes because, like I said, if you're going to play a player, at least give him 10 minutes. Don't play him 5 like you did Keon Ellis in the last game. Well, in the 10 minutes that Tyson had, he was 1 for 4 from the field. He did not make a 3 in his 3 attempts. He was 2 for 2 from the free throw line. He had 3 rebounds, and he was not a negative, okay? He had a 0 plus minus, okay? So my thing is this. Even though these aren't extremely great numbers from Tyson, well, they're better than the numbers that you was getting from Max Strus and Sam Merrill, because they was both negatives on the court. Jalen Tyson wasn't. And then if we talking about shooting wise, like their shooting percentage, neither one of them was shooting much better than Jalen Tyson was. So at least Jalen Tyson was not being a minus while he was out there on the court. So how come he couldn't get more than 10 minutes and just see if maybe Tyson might be able to find his groove tonight and this could become his night, as opposed to continuing to let Max Strus and Sam Merrill be out there bricking shots and then doing whatever else they did to be a minus 17 and a minus 8. I can't, because we can't have that when James Harden is a minus 22, Donovan Mitchell a minus 8, and Jared Allen a minus 20. We can't have all these other individuals, these, role players contributing to the minuses like that. The role players we gonna have, you got to be able to, when the stars ain't getting it, all right, y'all got to be able to hold it. And if the role players I got out there ain't holding it, then I need to put other role players in and try to find somebody who may have it tonight. We'll see what happens, because I could go on for days. I got many more clips, man, of Kenny being absolutely clueless in his own words. How he's talking about how, shots, they were just unlucky with the bounces of the ball. You're just being unlucky. So my thing with this is, Kenny, I would call it being unlucky, but the thing is, that's routine for the Cavs now. The unlucky bounces of the ball. So you gotta think 3 steps ahead now, Kenny. You literally have to prepare for the unlucky bounces of the ball. Hello, Tyrese Halliburton? We don't remember Tyrese Halliburton? Bounce off the back of the iron all up in the air straight down. We don't remember that? And then we end up going home to the Pacers? We don't remember that? Oh, well, if we don't remember that, how about the series before last? RJ Barrett? Would you call that a lucky bounce off the back? The same way that Tyrese Halliburton did it. What other team that's happening to in back-to-back years in the playoffs? So respectfully, at that point, this is happening to you more than it is other people. So that's something you need to prepare for. You need to keep that in mind. It could be just some wild bounce that ends up happening. So I need to do everything in my power to prevent it from even getting to the point where a guy is one shot and the ball could take this crazy bounce and go in. You got to even prepare for that now, Kenny. And respectfully, I don't think that you're competent enough to do so, man. And I don't want that to be the attack on your basketball acumen because you coaching in the NBA and I'm not. But respectfully, when it comes to just the regular 1, 2, 3 ABC parts of basketball, it don't seem like that's registered. It seems like you outsmarting yourself. Same thing I used to say about Kevin Stefanski. Seem like you outsmarting yourself. Seem like you being so smart and so analytical that the basic stuff, like stop leaving James Harden on the island with Jalen Brunson when he cooking them, that escapes you because there's some analytical stat that you have that says that Harden is actually a good one-on-one defender. Okay, that analytical stat might say that, but what we watching in real time is him getting cooked. Kenny, if you go down 3-1, you can chalk it. You love to keep playing with this going to game 7 crap. Because you're going to win both games on your home court, then what? Then you go back out to New York and lose, then you win on your home court because you keep winning at home, and then game 7. You keep playing with that fire, you're going to get burned. You keep going to game 7, you're going to lose one. You can't win every game 7, man. I'm sorry. We gonna see what he do going forward. I guarantee, we're going to keep starting Dean Wade. We're going to, whatever he's trying on defense, just throwing crap at the wall instead of just putting the players in that we know play real hard-nosed, pesky defense. And then whatever happens on offense, that's what happens. Because at the end of the day, the players that we got, the Sam Merrills, the Max Struses, well, they not knocking down the shots. So at the times when they're not knocking down the shots, give somebody else a shot at it. Especially when they can provide a certain level of defense as well that may not necessarily be out there at the time. Kenny, it's finna be way more than just me that's on your back paws about you getting up out of here, bruh. Dogs on the couch. Signing off, man.